Welcome back to Farming Simulator 25 with the Rude Man. We're back on Small Town, USA. And it looks like this field is finished, so let's pick up the grain here. Ultimate Gamer's in the house. Hey, Ultimate. Matthew, how you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm a little tired. If you remember Tuesday, I was working on a couple hours sleep, and it just catches up to me a day or two later. Why did it drop the header? Well, that's weird. Why did it do that? And it's shutting down. What? That's weird. Weird. Why did it do that? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Scorp. Cheers. Scorp's in the house. Oh, man. I'm tired. Scorp says the audio and video is good. Andy's here. Hi, Andy. Matthew's doing good. Go clean this thing up, I guess. I'm just exhausted. I don't know why. I was feeling okay an hour ago. It's terrible. Look at the fog. We got a bunch of fog all over the place. Look at that. What's with the fog? Can't remember. Is that soybeans here? Is that what we're waiting on? No, it's barley. Barley? That means that this is barley too then. No, this is wheat. Wheat and barley. What the hell? Why did I do that, I wonder? I don't need any straw, that's for sure. And this is oats. I've got oats, barley, and wheat. Wow. Wow. What a deal, huh? All right, I got to find my plow. I got a plow out here doing nothing. And this needs to work too. So, okay, let's get this thing started. And I think I can just hire a worker. I think let me just shut that off and just hire a worker and see what they do. Andy says he's doing good. Frank's in the house. How you doing today, Frank? Yeah, Ultima says that with age comes great responsibility. No, wait, that's Spider-Man that said that. Ultimate says that with age, it's hard to recover. That's true. That's true. I mean, that was a day and a half ago, and I was okay yesterday. But today, I can't get going. It's weird. Weird. All right, let's let this one go. And then I've got plowing to do. So let's hire a worker on this and see what he does. Does this one need liming? I don't think so. This one needs plowing and rolling, if I'm not mistaken. All right, what did I do? I just got in the way of the... Oh, no, look what I made him do. Oh, well. Yeah, plowing and rolling, rolling and plowing. That's all it needs. Frank says he's doing good today. Everybody's doing good but me. I'm fine. I'm just... I would love nothing more than to just go back to bed right now. And I'm not usually like that. I'm not one of these people that likes to sleep. Okay, don't get me wrong. I need sleep like everybody else. And, for me, about 7 hours is my go time. Some people can do a little less, some people a little more. If I get more than 7 hours, that's not good for me. I don't feel right, and I don't feel good with that much sleep. But what I mean is, I've never been one to sleep in. If I sleep in, like normally if I get up at 5 or 6 o'clock, like I normally do, I'm fine. If I get up at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, oh my God, it just makes me angry because I don't like sleeping my day away. And that's what I feel like I'm doing. Is sleeping my life away, really. Some people don't care. They'd sleep 12 hours a day. But to me, I would think, oh my God, that's my life. I'm just sleeping my life away. I gotta find my combine here. This is a huge field. Really is. It's got fog on two ends of it. We're gonna drive into the fog and get lost. Well, one thing is I spent the day recording yesterday. I recorded 5 Final Fantasy videos and started editing them, and then last night before I got to bed, I finished the 4th one as far as editing and rendering. So I worked from dusk to dawn yesterday doing nothing but videos. Look at the fog. Weird. Did I pass the combine in the fog? Could be. The herd's here. Hey there, herd. How you doing? I think that's funny. It's not herd, it's the herd. That's great. I like it. All right, what's going on here? Why'd you stop in the middle of nowhere? How's this gonna work? Interesting. The herd says he's doing good. Good's a good thing to be. One thing is I just had a big lunch. There's a local hamburger joint, a Mont Pa hamburger joint that's called the Dairy Maid here in town. They're very expensive. They make a good burger. I mean, so they're all hand-built burgers. You know, it's not like it's a franchise of some kind. But they make fresh strawberry milkshakes. So they're really good. But the problem is he was me and Jeff and Carol had burgers, and it cost me $50, you know, for a burger. It's like, okay, the milkshakes were worth it. I'd pay $50 for a milkshake. No, I wouldn't. But I don't eat them very, very often, and I shouldn't be eating sugar, but I did. And now I'm just like in a comatose. I'm in a coma. I'm going to wake up 10 years from now and wonder what the heck's been going on with my life. It was a toss-up between Mexican food and the burger, and they're right across the street from each other in my little hometown here. And so Jeff says, well, we could have Dairy Maid. We haven't done that in about a year, which is true. We haven't. About once or twice a year is the only time we do that. Again, you can't afford it, you know. And then he says, or we could go across the street and have Mexican food delivered, you know, or and not go into the restaurant, but just actually. And so I said, well, right now, lunch feels like a burger and Mexican food from a Mexican restaurant feels like dinner. And he says, okay, we'll do both. If you buy lunch, I'll buy dinner. And I said, okay, I guess. No cooking today. I don't have to worry about cooking. I was going to make a pot of chili. We just had a pot of stew over the weekend because we still had stew weather this last weekend. It's still cold and wet, and so it was still that. And we went through that pot of stew like nobody's business. And so I said, well, we've got the fixes for chili. And Carol said, let's wait a day or two. So we'll probably wait till the weekend. I'll make a pot of chili. It's still kind of cold out, though. We actually have had some sunshiny days, though, recently. All right, I think this needs lime. It does. It does need lime. And oh, my God. I just thought about it. I'm doing fertilizer, not lime. Oh, man. So that other field I need to redo now. It's been fertilized. What am I doing? What am I doing? Fill. Lime. It did need fertilizer. It does need lime, I think. Yep, it needs lime. So how come he's not doing anything? He's not going to do it. So I guess I'll have to do it manually. Already bringing smoke. I'm ready. What? Scorpion, I'll do the jokes here. Thanks. Whoa! 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 Scorpion's our resident comedian. Yeah, I'm from Oregon. New York, and that's expensive. I'll bet. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, I live on the coast. It's a resort town, or resort area. And so things are a little bit expensive, especially this week because it was spring break. So we had a lot of people in town. Very small town. It's about 6,000 people. And man, we went through that fast enough. Even so, it's kind of expensive. We don't eat out that much, though. I'll tell you, I appreciate sarcasm. I appreciate humor. There is one thing I don't tolerate, and it's these people that do puns. Oh my God! Did I just say puns? I don't like puns. I was playing a game. It was an online game, and one of the guys that flew with us out in space, it was Elite Dangerous. One of the guys that flew with us on an adventure we were on that was going to take months to do would sit there and do puns one right after another all friggin' day, and everybody got sick of it. Just sick of it. There are some people that just it's just natural for them to pun. But I hate puns. You can't stand for puns. You just sit down. Yeah. See, now you're doing puns. I just don't like it. I tell you what, that's one of the reasons why I don't like the Welkers. If I watch the Welkers, and you guys that know the Welkers know who I'm talking about. They're a group of farmers, two sons and a father that farm in Montana. The father thinks he's the punster of the year, and when the dad is on, I won't watch. It's just awful. Homer Simpson into the bushes. All right, I don't know why, but it still won't. It still won't let me hire a worker here. I know why. I'm surprised when it does let me. I think the main reason why it won't let me hire is because these are not set fields. This map is an open map that you have to put your own fields in. So when you say this is field number 1, it isn't really. We don't know what it is. It doesn't have a number. These are not numbered fields because they're not set fields by the game, by the map. You create your own, and you could make it 5 foot by 5 foot and call it a field. So it doesn't recognize the fields by number, and then sometimes that means if you try to hire somebody, it doesn't work. I think I'm working on 4,000 videos now. I can't remember. I was 3,000 and something a while back. Must be getting close to 4,000 videos on YouTube now. And that doesn't count the live streaming. No, just turn the engine off. I'm wasting a lot of lime here. Look at my tractor's all white from the lime dust. In the old versions of the game, when you were liming like this and there's some one little strip that you missed, the only lime that went out was what you needed. In this one, you're spreading lime whether you need it or not. I'm spreading all that lime out on the street. Okay, now let's go up here. And I think this field up here will take a worker. So let's give it a shot. Because I meant to lime that field in front of me and it didn't. It fertilized it. I didn't pay attention to what was in the seeder or the spreader, I should say. Look, it's Foggy again. Foggy went to court and he did right. All right, let's see what happens if I hire a worker. No, it isn't going to work. Oh, it did work. Never mind. It's working. All right, now I don't have to worry about the lime because the driver should buy it for me when he runs out. Yeah, see, right now the lime is not going down in volume because when you hire a worker, you can set up the game so that the worker buys the product that they're working with. So in this case, he's buying the lime as he spreads it. So if you look at my money up in the corner up here, you'll see that it goes down when he starts spreading. Or it should anyway. Don't make me a liar. There it goes. See, I'm spending money as I lime because the driver's buying it while he uses it. All right, let's go see what's happening out here. I think I'm waking up again. That milkshake's finally. Oh God, you know what? I should look and see what that milkshake did to me. That was the other thing. It's very small milkshakes, only about that big. Whoa. Sadie! Yeah, well, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's 160. That's not bad. That's pretty good. That's actually very good considering I just had a milkshake. All right. Where's my truck? Where's my truck? There's my truck. Oh, I love to see that black smoke roll. Yeah, you should have been on my channel when I first started. Talk about a ton of videos. I did full 45-minute videos. I did 2 of them a day, 7 days a week for a year and a half. Every day. I wanted to get a bunch of content out. And man, that was hard work. I mean, I actually retired. When did I retire, guys? A couple years ago. I set my goal for my channel to get 5,000 subscribers. When I hit 5,000 subscribers, I pretty much started to slow down. I was going to retire then, and I didn't do it. I did slow down quite a bit though. I started doing a lot more live streaming. I'm not a live streamer. It's not my favorite thing to do. My favorite thing to do is to make videos. I just like to make videos, edit them, and render them, and compress them. The live stream's hard for me because I really have to watch what I say. And I can be a little mouthy sometimes. All right, let's see. Let's grab one of the cedars. Head up to that field that we just limed, that long, tall, skinny one. Long, tall woman in a black dress. Yeah, Andy and Scorpion were around. They can attest to it. I had 2 videos come out every day for a year and a half. Andy doesn't giggle, does he? Well, Scorpion does a good job. Andy does a good job. My moderators are very good. I don't have to ever tell them anything. They take care of it. They know what I would do on my channel, and they take care of it. I don't have to be concerned about it anyway. And they're both very good about... I like to make sure that everybody that comes in gets acknowledged onto my channel. Now, sometimes I get carried away playing the game, and I miss people come in, but I get upset if I miss somebody come in. I want to make sure that everybody feels welcome at least once. I like to acknowledge when people come in. I like to ask them questions. I'm very curious by nature, and I can tell you a couple of things that will show you that. When I'm traveling and I'm driving down the freeway, instead of listening to music or anything like that, I'm looking at the houses that are zooming by and thinking, I wonder what they do for a living. I wonder what their home is like. What's their home look like on the inside? Do they have dinner at the dinner table? Do they talk during dinner? What's their life like? That's what I'm thinking when I'm driving down the road and looking at people's homes and stuff. And I'm very curious about things like that. When it comes to people coming in on my channel, I'm curious about how they decide what name they choose to have. Yeah, that always is a big deal. I'm always interested in that. And when I talk about to people, what's the weather like where you're at? That's just not idle conversation. I'm really interested. What's happening where you live in the world as far as that kind of stuff. I don't like to get into too much political stuff, but I'm talking about the weather, your lifestyle, what do you do for fun? I'm truly curious about things like that, about people. I'm not a big people person. I'm not very social, but I can be. I can talk to anybody about anything. That's not a problem with me. But if I had the choice, I wouldn't. I'm kind of weird. Let's go check on that combine. Oh no, you missed a spot here. So if I didn't have to go out in public and associate with people, I never would. But since I do have to, because that's life, I'll stop and talk to people all the time. You know, my grandkids. Do you know that person? I said, no. Well, you talk to them, and I said, well, yeah. Why not? I'll stop and talk to people and say hi and wave to people as they go by. I'm very social that way, but it's not something I go out of my way to do. If I didn't ever have to go out into public, I wouldn't. Period. All right, so this guy's all plowed up. And this guy does not need lime. Okay, he doesn't need lime. Well, you never know. I mean, his name may be Marvin. You don't know that. Just made it up. All right, now I was going to do some kind of vegetable, so I'm thinking that this field right here that I just plowed, carrots, I'm thinking. I might go parsnips. I have to remember, what was it I could make the soup out of? Potatoes was one thing. But I don't want to do a great big field of potatoes. Oh, man. I'm going to have to think about it. Okay, yeah, that one needs plowing. I'm trying to think of which field I just finished. Hamish McDougal? Is it Hamish or Hamish? It'd be Hamish, wouldn't it? Hamish McDougal. I'm going to try. Well, no, wait a minute. I should have a plow course for this field. This field number 10, is it? Yeah, that's field number 10. Okay, I probably have a course play route for 10. Let's look. Okay, let's go down here. Let's go up there. Let's see. We've got plow field 9. Let's clear that course out, and we're going to go with plow field 10 if I have it. There we have it. Plow field 10, and load that course. Make sure that course is selected, and put the line. I like to look at the lines. I don't know why. I just do. And then let's go with first waypoint and turning loose. And then we got to get that combine off the field. All right, find my tractor. That tractor can go back to the farm. We got one more spot in this one for things. Hamish. See, but that could be the truth, Andy. You could be Hamish. We don't know that. You guys don't know my name. Like, is Frank Hammond really Frank Hammond? So I was going to name a kid Sebastian Rudolph because I got named Rudolph. And I don't have a middle initial, so it's just Rudolph. And I haven't hated my name, but I have kind of thought, because I've always went by Rudy. Rudy's fine. I never went by Rudolph. I got teased a lot at Christmas, all that kind of junk. And so I told my wife, I said, yeah, if we have a boy, I'm going to name him Sebastian Rudolph just to get even, with them naming me that. I can name the kid after me, but call him Sebastian Rudolph. And then Carol wouldn't let me. And so I had a daughter, so it didn't come into effect. My first child was a daughter. Oh, darn it, I wanted to name Sebastian Rudolph. I can't do that to a girl. And so we named Aaron. And then finally the second child was a boy. And we didn't plan on having 3 children. We planned on having 2. We wanted a girl and a boy. And we had a girl and a boy. So, and if we'd have had 2 girls, it would have been fine. If we'd have had 2 boys, it would have been fine. We're the kind of people that when Carol was pregnant, we would not allow the doctor to tell us what the child was going to be. We didn't care, and we didn't want to know. And it because it truly wouldn't have mattered. Neither one of us, it would have mattered. So we didn't want to know what it was going to be. We wanted to be surprised. And we pleasantly surprised. The first one was a girl, the second one was a boy. We wanted a girl and we wanted a boy, and there you go. And finally Carol said, okay, you can name him whatever you want. Well, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was just teasing. Sebastian Rudolph, I didn't want to do that. So we named him Jeffrey Ray. And Ray after a foster brother I had that passed away. So we named him Jeffrey Ray. Ray short for Raymond. And now that my son is an adult, and he heard me say that a couple of times over the years, and one day he flat out told us he wished that we would have named him Sebastian because he likes the name Sebastian better than Jeffrey. So anyway, Rudolfo in Spanish. I suppose it is. I suppose. Yes, sir, but you're also known as Captain Chaos. Well, now, see, where did that come from? How did you become Captain Chaos and not Captain Crunch? Captain Chaos from the Cannonball Run movies. Oh, do you look like, oh God, what's his name? Oh no, I had his name right there. Dom DeLuise. Do you look like Dom DeLuise? Who's Captain Crunch? Oh, Captain Crunch is a very delicious children's cereal. Yeah, Dom DeLuise. He was a funny guy. I'm just a big fan of Dom DeLuise, and I don't look like you. You don't look like me? Well, I don't know why anybody would want to, but I've never liked me. I've never liked me at all. I've never liked myself. I don't like my voice. I don't like the way I look. I've never been a big fan of myself. All right, where's my, there it is. Dun da da dun. Captain Chaos. It's like, that's like Mighty Mouse. I'm sorry. What are you sorry about? Don't be sorry about anything. That's what I used to say. Don't admit you're wrong. It's a sign of weakness. Never admit you're wrong. I've never made mistakes. I say that quite often. People say, "You've never made a mistake," and it's not that I admit. Not that I admit to. I don't make mistakes. You don't make mistakes? Not that I admit to. No. Never apologize. It's a sign of weakness. I never apologize for anything either. Never say you're sorry. You can be sorry. You should be sorry. It's a compassionate human thing to do. If you make a mistake or say something that, you offend somebody when you didn't mean to. I'm not real big on this, everybody being offended by everything. That is not my fault. That is not my problem. If I say something to you and it offends you, that's your problem, not mine. Especially nowadays when everything's offensive. Oh, the sky's too blue. I'm offended. Why is that my problem? If you're offended by the sky being blue, why is that my problem? It isn't. Anybody that's offended, anybody that says I'm offended from something you say, well, that's your problem, not mine. Don't put your problems on somebody else. Toodle-oo, that was always something I like to say. Toodle-oo. Uh-oh, what's that guy doing over there? Did he finish? Which field is this? Oh, I see. All right, now we got to go do that big field. I don't think that big field needs lime, though, did it? I don't think it does. I'll just park this guy right here because I don't really need him. What's going on here, though? Are they done? Barley. Barley? No, not barley. Oh, did I just really do that? I meant to do... Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. I wonder if I can plant over it. I think I can. In the old games, you used to be able to. Let's see. I don't want barley. Let's do some parsnips. I'm going to see if I can redo this. We'll see what it does. Is it going to do anything? It isn't going to do it. Oh, well, no wonder. I dropped the cedar. That's not good. That's not what I meant to do. All right, it must know it's already been seeded and it won't do it. Okay, fine. I'll leave it barley. But I'm not happy. All right, let's change it. We're going to change it to parsnips, and we'll do that little field up there in parsnips. Frankie, you still sorry about something? You shouldn't be sorry. Is it soup du jour yet? No. I'm starting to perk up a little bit. I'm hoping not to perk up too much, because if I perk up too much, I won't want to take a nap. And I think I want to take a nap today. I've been reading health articles, and there's an article I read about people taking a 45-minute or an hour nap every day. And if you take a 45-minute hour nap every day, it could increase your lifespan by 20 years. Now, and I was watching this woman she's a doctor, and she was talking about vaccines and stuff. Her specialty was kidney diseases. That was her specialty, and she wrote a book and stuff like that. And she said, technically, with today's knowledge and today's medical expertise and knowledge of diet, exercise, all of that kind of stuff, that technically the United States should be in a position where the average age, instead of being 70 or 80, should be 120. We should be living to be 120 at this stage in our development, as far as a human race, especially in a country like America. It's going to do it. It's going to do parsnips. I don't think I've ever planted parsnips. Kidneys are people too, yeah. Kidneys are beans too. There's a pun for you. What's this guy doing? Why is it every time I hire a worker, it's a girl? That's kind of weird. I'm a little bit different. If I had a farm, all my workers would be female. I mean, it's like sports. People say, do you watch sports? I say, no, I don't really like sports. I don't watch sports. I couldn't tell you. I know that a football is shaped kind of like this, and a basketball and a baseball are shaped kind of round. Other than that, I don't know anything about sports. And so you don't like sports? Well, no, I didn't say that. I like women's volleyball, women's swimming, women's diving, women's, basketball. See a theme there, do you? Especially women's sand volleyball. Oh my God, that's the kind of stuff you want to watch. Well, it used to be. Now you have to do a DNA test to find out whether they're really female or not. That's ridiculous. See, we started that way when I was a kid. When I was a kid in the Olympics, the Russians always had women that looked like men. They were huge. And you knew something was wrong there. But now you can't, it's ridiculous what's happening now. It was funny then. You get this female athlete from Russia, and they were 300 pounds of solid muscle, looked like a bull. Are you kidding? That's not a woman. Back then, I think they really were women biologically. They just, they were just full of testosterone and what's that other stuff they take? Some kind of shots. All right, moving on. Oh, yeah. If I had a car wash, everybody would come to my car wash. I wouldn't put a machine in. My car washes would be hand car washed by young 20-year-old girls in bikinis. And I bet you I'd get it. Every man's car in town would be washed on a daily basis. Steroids. Yeah, there you go, Frank. That's what I was trying to think. That's trying to think of steroids. All right. God, still 9 minutes before soup du jour. I can't stand it. I'm looking for something caffeinated today for sure. Oh, no. Who left a stupid tractor in the road? Who did this? I'll have them by the short hairs. Better go out to the road. Yeah, and people would accuse me of being sexist, and I would say, what's your point? No, seriously, what's your point? Well, you got all women washing your cars. I said, so? Well, that's sexist. Well, how's that sexist? I can hire anybody I want. Oh, she doesn't care. On our honeymoon, we went to Victoria, to the Busha Gardens up there. And I pulled Carol by her hand around that place trying to get, I had a camera. I was trying to get a picture of this woman's rear end. This woman was in a very tight pair of white jeans, and she filled them out very nicely. And I'm pulling Carol along on our honeymoon trying to get a picture of this girl. So I don't think Carol would care. Russia, where the men are men and they drink distilled potatoes. They do. They call it vodka, I guess. But is that what vodka's always made of? What do they make vodka out of? Is it just potatoes, or do they do other things? Do they use some kind of fruit, maybe? I don't know. Oh, now I'm singing Christmas songs. Now we don our gay apparel. Fa la 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 la. Who sings fa la 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 and dances around? Who does that? I guess somebody that dons their gay apparel. I don't know. Do I have another one to seed? Let's go check on that seeder. Oh, I got to empty a combine. I'm not watching my combine carefully. Oh, really? Wheat, rye, and corn, things like that? Okay. Well, I know they make whiskey out of corn. I mean, up in the mountains, Mountain Dew. That's what Mountain Dew is, corn squeezins. So they make vodka out of grains. I just heard that Russians made them out of potatoes. I guess you can make alcohol out of anything that ferments, I suppose. Starchy stuffs. That starchy stuff sounds good to me, but I don't think I like vodka. I don't think I would like vodka. I've been forced to drink it a few times. One time by a bunch of Russians. There was a ship in harbor here in Astoria, and it was a Russian freighter. And I was talking with a bunch of them. We weren't talking because they spoke Russian and they didn't speak English, and I didn't speak Russian. So, but we were trying to communicate with each other, and they invited me on board the ship. And a couple of them invited me to sit with them while they were imbibing in their vodkas. And they would buy a fresh apple, and they would peel it. They would peel it and cut it with a hand knife, a pen knife. And they would eat a little apple and drink a little vodka. And they convinced me. I tried to tell them I didn't drink, but there was a language barrier there, so I didn't want to insult them. So I took their vodka and I went to drink it, and of course I don't drink alcohol, so drinking vodka would be the same thing as you taking a little glass of gasoline or kerosene and trying to drink it. It was like, oh, and I made this face when I tried to drink it. I couldn't hardly swallow it. It burned all the way down and all the way back up again and then back down again. And these guys were laughing at me and saying, "You no good Russian." And then they took vodka and they just threw the whole damn glass back and swallowed it in one swallow and say, "Good Russian. You no good Russian." In other words, I couldn't drink like a Russian. That's pretty funny. Wow, she made short work of that. Good job, sister. Okay, now that should have rolled the field, and it did. Okay. And we're 100% fertilizer because this is the field I accidentally fertilized when I thought I was liming. I was looking that up the other day too because I was curious as to why they used to call English people limeys. And it's back from the days when they were out at sea, and they discovered that you needed citrus to keep from getting scurvy. And for some reason, the English people always had limes. So they started calling them limeys. That makes sense to me. I don't know. Matthew's been on Google again. Vodka is made from water and diluted ethyl alcohol, or ethanol, made from fermenting sugar through the addition of yeast. See, that's why I never made my own bread. I used to have a bread maker, and I used to make my own sourdough bread and different kinds of bread depending on what I felt like. But it was the yeast. You'd buy yeast in a great big jar or something, and then the yeast, by the time you didn't bake bread every day, by the time I decided I wanted to bake some bread, the yeast was no good. And so I started buying yeast in these little bitty packages that you just opened up and used them, and the problem was it was damn expensive to do it that way. There's a pain in the butt. Is it, Matthew? Thank you. Thank you says it's soup du jour time, or Matthew says. So we're going to look for something sparkly. Something like that, maybe, because I need caffeine. I've been waiting for an hour. Actually, I've been waiting for 2 hours because I sat around for an hour just waiting for the stupid live stream to start. And I could use the Dr. Pepper, but I don't have any. I don't know what's going on in Hong Kong, but they won't send me any Dr. Pepper anymore. They're reserving it for Godzilla, I guess. So I'm just going to do, if I can find one, I'm going to do a regular Dr. Pepper. Do I have one? Oh, no. I've got Mountain Dew, but not... No. I must have drank one and didn't replace it. No. All right, I'm stuck with whiskey. I got a whole case sitting right behind me, but none in the fridge. All right, hang on. What do I have to do? I have to check my blood sugars. Oh crap, they're going up. They're going up. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do this. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I've got plenty of Mountain Dew. Yeah, Fireball. Let's do the Fireball. I got plenty of Mountain Dew. I just don't have any regular Mountain Dew. I have Code Red, and I've got Baja Blast. The issue is those are both sugared sodas. The regular Dr. Pepper is Diet Dr. Pepper. There's no sugar in it. My problem is that milkshake that I drank is still got my blood sugars going up. If you remember, it was 160. Well, now it's 174, so it's going up. I can't afford to have sugar right now. So I'm just gonna do a regular Diet 7-Up. That's what we're gonna do today. Even though I wanted a Mountain Dew, I'll Surf's Up 7-Up. And so we'll do that. Kick it open here. A pale ale. Andy's got a pale ale. Oh, man, that's cold. And so refreshing. Actually, I haven't had 7-Up for a little while, so it's really quite good. But I can't do that because there's no caffeine in it. So I got none of that. Oh, well. All right, back to work. Why did I shut my tractor down? Why did I do that? Don't do that. Don't do that. What am I going to do? I don't want to do parsnips over here. Let's do some... Oh, what the hell did I just do? Oh, I hate when I do that. What's going on? All right, put it back in. Hit the wrong key again. You had a Baja Blast today? Did you really? Now, when you say you had a Baja Blast, did you have like a can or a bottle, or did you go to a store and get a soda one? I'm not real big on soda restaurant sodas. I'm not real big on that. I like to get either a can or a bottle of pop. The soda pops don't taste the same to me. They always taste washed out or watered down, however you want to put that. So I'm not real big on soda that come from a soda fountain. Okay, why is it not doing there? Okay. Anyway, 20-ounce bottle out of a vending machine. There you go. Do you have that at work? Wow, you got Mountain Dew at work? Baja Blast? Out of a fountain, out of a machine. Cool. All right, wait. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stop it. Stop it. I don't want to do parsnips. I want to do carrots. We're going to do carrots. Needs to be unloaded. The hell does that mean? Oh, it's talking about the combine. All right, never mind. I'm looking up above here. Over there. Needs to be unloaded, it says. That's the combine. I was thinking it was this cedar here. It's what you get for thinking. Don't be thinking when you get old. It doesn't make you look good. Doesn't fit. All right, we'll let this guy go. I guess we got some stuff. We got some crops to pick up. So let's do so. Do I leave the truck every time I leave the truck? Because every time I get in the truck, the door's opening and closing. Frank's barbecuing. Man, that would be, you'd get some coals jumping out of that thing right in the crotch of your pants there, it looked like. That'd be a dangerous way to barbecue, if you ask me. Ultimate Gamer's got 1,030 grain buckets. Wow, you is a rich one. If I was a rich man. Valtra 416. Captain Chaos is not afraid. Mighty Mouse. Here I come to save the day. Captain Chaos is not a breakfast cereal, but Captain Crunch is. What other piece of equipment have I got running around that's not being used? You know what I should do? I should have this guy doubling up over there and helping that guy out. Oh, don't do that. Why didn't I think of that before? That field might have been done by now. That's what I get for not thinking. I guess I told myself to stop thinking after a certain age. Once I reached 70, I quit thinking. It doesn't do you any good. It certainly doesn't make you look smart. Whoa. So, Andy, you gonna get another cat? All right, now this is field. What field? What field is this? This is field 8. Field 8. Okay, so field 8. If we go in here and clear the course and find harvest field 8 and load that course. And then let's find, where's that guy working at? He's working on this side. Let's work over here then. Okay, so which way would we be going? If this is going, I don't know which way. Where's the other guy at? Oh, he's over there. So this is right. Okay. We go this way. All right, so we're gonna do nearest waypoint and do that. All right, that'll double up on that. Double down. You have to breed your own cat? Wow. Other countries are weird. We just go and ask somebody that's got cats if they want to get rid of it or something. We don't have to breed with them. That's weird. Other countries are strange. Call the cat not Houdini. Oh, well, see, our cat doesn't leave the house because the last time we let her out, she got attacked and eaten alive almost. When we found her, her guts were hanging out and she was dying. And we got her to the vet just in time, and he put things back where he could and sewed her up, and had to do a couple of different surgeries on the poor cat. So we don't let her out anymore. We got coyotes around. There's a pack of coyotes that come around, and you can hear them at night howling close by. And so we don't let her out. A barbecue sandwich. Well, there's some debate. Some people are debating whether a hot dog is a sandwich. Is a hamburger a sandwich? I would consider if it's in a bun, that's bread, it's a sandwich. Like a hot dog, that's a sandwich, in my opinion. And how do you breed it? Now I'm stuck on this breeding season for cats. How do you breed a cat without getting all scratched up? I know how I used to castrate them. Used to put them in a stovepipe. You'd stick a cat in a stovepipe. Now, a stovepipe, a real stovepipe, it's not hooked in a circle. It's open on one end, so it'll stretch. So you can take a stovepipe and put it together, and you can squeeze it, and it narrows down like this. So you put a cat in there, and you squeeze the stovepipe down so that it squeezes them in the stovepipe with their rear end hanging out the back. And then you can castrate them. Now, you have to know what you're doing, because there's one thing of you can castrate a steer, a cow, and there's no problem with bleeding and stuff. But a horse, you have to be careful with horses. Dogs will bleed to death. You need to suture them. And, cats are kind of a strange animal when it comes to that, too. And how do I know this? Is because I used to do it. I was the resident guy in the neighborhood on the farm industry that castrated the animals. And so, they'd have a dog they didn't want running around, so they'd bring him over and let me castrate him. But you had to be careful because they would bleed. So you had to actually do surgery on them. But cows you don't have to worry about. Sheep you don't. I did the sheep with my mouth, and you don't bite them. They make it look like you're biting them. You're not biting them. You're pulling them out with your teeth. You don't bite down on them. You put them in your mouth, and you bite down only enough so where there's no room to get by your teeth, and you pull, and it rips them out, and then you spit that out in a bucket and cook it for food later. That's where the Rocky Mountain oysters come from. And I used to do that with pigs too, not the mouth thing, but cutting the pigs, and we'd throw them in a bucket of salt brine, and we'd fry them up later. Hot dog and hamburgers are sandwiches. Mike Rowe knows how to castrate sheep. I saw that. That was funny, because when I was a kid in our 4-H class, our ag class, our ag teacher was from a wheat country. He didn't know anything about animals. And so there's a segment of animal husbandry in school, or there used to be. And he was saying that, it's my understanding that in the old days, they used to bite them off to castrate sheep. And I said, yeah, I've done that. And he looked at me and said, you've done that? And I said, yeah, I could show you how to do that. Bring them to we had sheep. I said, bring them to the farm, bring the kids to the farm, and I'll do it one day. And show how it's done, how it used to be did. How it used to be did. How it used to be done. And so they brought a school bus of kids out. Some of them were girls. Nothing against that. Girls need animal husbandry too. And I put a set of white coveralls on, and I went out into the pasture, and I had it all set up the way they used to do it. And the way that they used to do it is they would put a fence post in, and they would put it not quite chest high for the person that's going to be working. They'd put the post in. How many baddies you have to smash in total? Anyway, so what you do is you start a fire, and you put the branding iron in the fire. Only this particular branding iron looked like a chisel. You know what a chisel is for cutting stone and stuff like that and wood. But it had a long metal handle on it, and then the end looked like a chisel, so it was kind of sharpish, like the edge of a knife. And you would heat that up in a fire till it was red hot. Then somebody would bring you the sheep. You would grab their front feet and their back feet, a front foot left and front right, and their butt would be sticking up like this. You would plop their butt on that post I was talking about that was about this high. And so then the guy that was actually doing the work was on the other end. You'd plop the sheep down. You'd cut the end of the bag off his testicles. Open, pull them out. Put them in your mouth. You bite down. You don't bite down. You just kind of close your mouth, close your teeth, and then you pull them out and spit them out. Then the guy would come over with the branding iron and burn their tail off. You'd take the lamb and you'd go drop it in the pen. He's done. And that's how you used to do it. So I did this in front of all these kids. And of course, there's a little blood involved. So I had a little bit of blood around my mouth and stuff. And one of the girls passed out. That was pretty funny. That made my day. And so there were kids passing out and puking everywhere. And even the teacher was a little he was a little shocked, but he was pretty impressed with me. And I kind of became teacher's pet after that. So I said, okay, now next, in a month or so, we're going to be castrating cattle. So if you bring them over, I'll show you how to do that. Well, that's the way they used to do it. It was very efficient. You'd be surprised how fast you can go through the sheep that way. You just have 2-3 people out there catching them, and they just bring them over, plop their butt down, you slap, eat, spit, burn, and you're done. Go to the next one. You can do it very quickly, but that's how they used to do it. The way they do it nowadays is they have these things called burdizos, I think. If I'm thinking of it right, it's a burdizo. But there's two kinds. There's one that's like a clamp. But the way you do sheep nowadays, you just take a rubber band. You get this little rubber band, you go to their bag, you put the rubber band on, which is tight. It cuts off the circulation, and in a couple of weeks, their balls fall off. And that's all there is to it. Very humane. You don't have to bite anything, and that's how they do that. Now with the cattle, they have what they call a burdizo, and it's got teeth on it, like a pair of pliers, but the end is shaped like this, so it's got teeth. And you just put that thing up there, and you crunch like that, and it cuts the cord on the other side of the testicle, and then of course again they just kind of fall off. Their body absorbs it. Mine is a turtle effect. That's what it was like growing up on a farm. Horses are the tricky ones. Horses could be dangerous. A lot of people would hire. They would just hire a vet to do it because there's things that can go wrong. A horse can bleed to death. The problem with the horses is they resemble a scorpion. A horse, they'll turtle up on you. So you have to be really careful, because if something happens and they pull their testicles up inside of their body, you're not gonna get them. And it could be dangerous. Your horse could bleed to death if you're not careful. If you do the cut and then they turtle up on you, you'll never get that testicle back, and they'll bleed to death. So it's very touchy to do horses. I've done a couple horses, but it was well worth just hiring a vet to do it. But we did cattle and pigs and sheep all the time. Rocky Mountain oysters were never my favorite thing, but I have had them, and everybody else enjoyed them. So I would keep, when I was doing that kind of work, I would keep a 5-gallon bucket full of salt brine in it, salted water, and I would castrate the animal, whether it was a cow or sheep or a pig, and I would take the testicles and turn them inside out and then drop them in this bag or in this bucket, and they would soak, and then we'd fry them up. Rocky Mountain oysters, a delicacy. I didn't mind doing the smaller animals. I didn't like doing cats. They'd scratch the hell out of you. And you had to be real careful with cats. Dogs, they weren't bad. I did a lot of the neighbors' dogs. For some reason, all the neighbors thought that if you castrated a dog at an early age, it would keep them from running, running around the countryside. I guess it made sense. If an animal has, its full capabilities, it wants to go out there and breed. And so, they run, the animals run around the country looking for the other dogs in heat. So if you took care of that problem, they would just get where they just wanted to lay around and eat food all day. Have a cigar and a nap. So, we had a little place, little lounge area for the dogs, the farm dogs, and they'd go have a cigar and a nap. And, you'd be lucky if you got them to go chase some animals if you needed animals herded up. I used my dogs for the sheep and the cattle, and I would do the cattle on horseback. The sheep you do on foot. You're just out there and you got your little staff and your Jesus robe, and you'd walk around with the dog, and the dog would herd them up for you, get them to the corral. But I used horses for the cattle because the cattle. We'd let the cattle range on like a mountainside. So herding up the cattle wasn't an easy problem. You had to find them first. And then you had to be on horseback and herd them back down to the farm off the mountain. The sheep were just ranging out in the pasture. They weren't too bad. The dogs could take care of them pretty easily. Ultimate. That's terrible. Yeah, that would be like not a good thing. You get arrested for that. I got movies of that stuff someplace because the ag teacher had a movie camera, and he would come out to my farm all the time because I was always doing shit like that, and take videos. Like when the pigs would have their litters and stuff, and there was one pig in particular we were worried about, and I called my ag teacher and I told him one of the pigs is due to have her litter, but I'm worried. And he said, what's she doing? And I said, well, I went in to check to see, how the progress was with my hand. And I said, I can't get my hand in. And he said, well, how far along? And I said, far enough along, I should be able to get in there. And he said, okay, I'm on my way. And I told him, bring your camera. And just about time he pulled up, I'm coming from the house with a hunting knife. And he said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Hurry, hurry, she's dying." I said, I can't get her birth canal open. There's something wrong." And I said, she's trying to have the litter, and she can't. And so she's dying. I said, "I got to do something." So he said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Just bring your camera." So I had to slice her open I waited to see if I could help her in any way, and I couldn't get my hand in the birth canal. And she was huge. She was like a 1,000-pound sow, full of babies. And she was having trouble breathing, and she was struggling quite mightily. And she just gave a big heave and a last breath, and that was it. I took my hunting knife and I cut her open, and all the little babies just came out. And we had to get each of them out of their bag so they could breathe. One of them was dead in the birth canal, and because it couldn't come out, and it was a runt. But the rest of them lived, and we had to bottle feed them. But I have that all on film someplace. Let's see, that was back, I was probably 16, 17 at that time. I was a junior in high school. So that would have been 100 years ago. Let's see, what's 100 less than 2025? Well, that would have been about 1969. Yeah, about 1969. The law can do it. Don't get stuck in the TARDIS. I gotta go check on my combines, I guess. They're probably both full by now. Well, he's not full, but he is. I have just enough room for both these combines, and then we can head to the barn. I fought the law and the law won. Where's the other combine? Must be over that away. I don't know. I don't see the other combine. Where is my combine? I don't see it. Huh. There it is. Way over there. What's he doing over there? Oh, he's on his last leg, it looks like. All right, let's head that way. I lost it in the fog. Look at that. Isn't that cool? What's with this fog anyway? Scorpion didn't get stuck in the TARDIS today. Now I'm lost in the fog, not just the combine. Wait till he fills up. Okay, so we got our carrots done, do we? Needs plowing. What? Oh no, I didn't plow this field. Oh, that ain't right. It's too late now. I can't plow it now. It's already seeded. Andy's on the bridge. Don't jump, Andy. Or should we call him Hamish? Let's call him Hamish from now on. Frank's milking the cows. That's one job we don't have to do tonight. I kind of like Hamish. Look how fast that thing closes. I love it. Lost in the fog and the fog won. Hamish the Beermeister. Cat-loving Beermeister. Get into a cat dance.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers, Frank. Frank's drinking on the job. Well, he's serving the drinks. Maybe he's not actually drinking. All right, so this field is ready. It's been plowed. I think it needs a rolling, probably. Let's see. It needs lime. I didn't lime it. All right. What's going on? I'm losing. Cheers, Andy. All right, I gotta find my silly spreader. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Come on. It won't let me. It won't let me. No, no. It won't let me. Andy's a drinking. What you drinking, Andy? Well, it's a little later for Andy. It's evening time for Andy. Or Hamish, I should say. What's your wife call you? Does she call you Andy or Hamish? (7 a.m. to 3 p.m.) Ah, 7 to 3. That's good. Now, when you say you got moved to day shift, are you permanently day shift, or do you work in a like I worked in a factory where you had 1 week of day shift and then you went to swing shift for a week, and then you went to graveyard shift for a week. So it would be, like 8 to 5 daytime and 5 to midnight swing shift, and then midnight to 8 on graveyard. I used to work a job like that in a shirt factory where I was a lab technician. I am now permanently day shift. Are you happy about that? Is that a good thing? 9 years on second shift, and now I bet on the days. Cool. So you're a happy camper now. Is it the same pay, same job, and all that kind of stuff? Oh, you bid on the days? Oh. So there's openings, and then you can bid on it, and if you win the bid, you get the job. That kind of how it works. You go by seniority. Different job and a small pay cut. Well, gotta have your priorities, you know. Wait a minute. What's going on? Get off the field. You might be wondering about the patches that I left that didn't get plowed. It's okay because the planter that I use is also a cultivator, so it will still cultivate the area if it didn't get plowed. I think I'll just leave this guy out here. Seniority. Yeah, the job that I had when I worked for the factory, I was a lab technician, but I was a lab technician. I wasn't the chemist. We had a assistant chemist on each shift. Then there was the head chemist. The head chemist or senior chemist worked strictly day shift. He was the only one, and so then each shift had an assistant chemist that was in charge of the technicians, and I was a lab technician. And we had two lab technicians, and a liquid sugar technician. So we had 3 technicians, and then there was a sample runner, and in the lab. So on any shift, you had an assistant chemist, 3 benches, and a sample runner. And the sample runner was just some kid with a bucket, and he'd run out into the factory every hour and pull samples from different stages of the process of making sugar. And he would bring those things in, and so each hour we would do a different test. A different chemical test on the sugar process as it was being made into sugar, either liquid or granulated. And so I would have different tests that I had to run on my bench. Mine was the actual sugar bench, and then the other guy was on the beet bench. And so I was a little senior. I was senior to him, and then there was the liquid sugar guy was an act unto himself, different department. But used the lab, and then of course the sample runner was the peon. I started out as a sample runner, and then a bench job came open, and I got it. So not on the farm now, not collecting samples there. I was confused for a second. Oh, yeah, we were talking about farming stuff, and then Frank got into his shift change. He's now on day shift. Little less pay, but a better position as far as timing goes, I would think. Okay, looks like I've got some wheat to pick up, but I think my truck is full, and I've been sleeping on... No, it isn't. I've got room for 1 load. Okay, this one's closer. Let's get it. We'll get the closer one because he's got more work to do than this guy's almost done on the left here. We'll get this guy working again, so he'll finish the field out. Yeah, one of my many, many jobs over the years. I've had people say, you know, God, how many jobs have you had? And I would say, I don't know, I haven't counted them. And then they'd say, well, what was wrong? You couldn't keep a job? I said, no, that's not it at all. Everything I did, I was successful at. I always started at the bottom and worked my way up. I'd start at the starting job, and within a period of time, I'd be managing the place. It's just that I got tired of doing the same thing all the time. So about every 10 years, I'd change jobs. And then I'd have to start all over again. Yeah, I started out as a loan collector, as a repo man at the bank. Within 16 months, I was the head of the department. And then after close to 18 months, I got promoted to a loan officer. I was a ag loan specialist. And then I moved up into management, actual management. And, and then I moved on to other things. But I was successful. And then, I started out with the government job. Working as a salesman type of a person. We went out to businesses, sold them on our government program, and then talked them into hiring people. And we would pay part of the wages. So we'd say, look, if you give this person a chance at this job that you've got open, we will pay half the wages for a 4 or 5, 6 month period. At the end of that period, if they've done a good enough job, hopefully you'll give them the job permanently. If you don't, if for any reason they're not working out, then you don't have to keep them. But if you do keep them, we'll keep paying their wages for that period of time. And that was the job that I had. And then of course I kept moving up, and within a year or two I was managing that particular office. It was a county office. So we worked in counties. There were 4 or 5 of us, and we each had a different county in the state. And I was a county manager. So, and I kept every job I've had. When I started at the post office, I was delivering rural mail. And within a couple of years, I was a postmaster. It was... I've been very successful. I just didn't like doing the same stuff all the time. I got bored. And so I would quit and find a different job. Or I'd find a different job first and then quit. I'm not stupid. Yeah, because hey, if you don't like the job you're doing, it still pays the bills. Look for something that you do like. And when you find that, then quit the first job. Don't quit the job and then try to find another job to replace it. You're going to starve to death doing crap like that. But people have different ideas of how things work. And they say, oh, no, it's like being on vacation. I don't have to work. I can just wait and find a job. Well, how are you paying your bills? Well, we're struggling. So you should have kept the job you had. At least it paid the bills. And then find something better. But people are funny. They get it in their mind that they don't want to do that anymore, and they just quit. God, don't quit. Be smart about it. Anyway, that's the way I did it. Yeah, I even taught at, I was a teacher at I wasn't a professor, but I was a teacher at a college, a local junior college. I taught computer classes, and you had to be certified, and to get certified, you had to have the knowledge and you had to be able to get certified at that particular thing that you were doing, that you were teaching. So for me, it was computer programming, and then I would learn how to use say Microsoft Word, and I was able to be certified by Microsoft for that, and then I could teach. So I actually taught at a college for a while. These classes were in a junior college. They have what they call adult evening classes, adult classes. So you're not a college student trying to get a associate degree so that you can go on to a university and get a college degree, bachelor's degree or Bachelor of Science. It wasn't that. These were courses that were held in the evening for people that wanted to learn how to weld. They wanted to learn how to run a computer or things like that. So it was adult education is what I taught. Okay, how come I can't dump my grain? What's going on? There it goes. Yeah, I don't think I've ever mentioned that I was a college teacher, that I taught college. Hey, Jeremy. Postmaster was great. I loved being a postmaster because I was left alone. That was my job. When I walked up to the post office in the morning, I had my key in my hand. I unlocked that door. That was my office. There was nobody to tell me what to do. I just did my job, and if you do a good enough job, they leave you alone. You know that you don't get the higher ups coming around unless you're doing something wrong. And I actually would have an annual review where I'd have to go into to Portland, and they would do a review on the type of job I was doing and that kind of thing. And one of the first things they'd say is, we haven't had much contact with you, and so how are things going, and that kind of thing. And I'd say, well, it's because I think that part of my job is for me to do the best job that I can do so that you don't have to come and see me on a regular basis, because I know that you've got offices bigger than mine that you have problems at, and you've got only so much time to deal with that crap. So the less you have to deal with me, the more time you've got to deal with those people that need help, or other than help, replacement maybe. So I always just made sure I did a very good job. And it was kind of funny because that's how I became postmaster. Usually it takes about 15 years to make postmaster. I was postmaster within a couple of years. And the main reason was when a job opened up, I knew what I was doing. If I didn't have something to do, I would grab the manuals and start reading. Well, imagine at a post office as a government job, the manuals are this friggin' thick. And I'll give you an example. You want to mail something to another country. Do you know how many regulations there are? You've got regulations on the United States side. You've got regulations on the Italian side, and you have to know what the rules and regulations are between those countries to be able to mail whatever it is, because there are restrictions and prohibitions on things you can do. So you've got these regulations this thick. Well, I studied and learned them all. So when other postmasters would have something they needed to do, these were people that had been postmasters for 20, 30 years, but they'd never did a certain thing. And they would call me, Rudy, how do you do this? How would I send this to Europe? Okay, well, this is how you do it. And I would tell them. And at that time, I was only a part-time employee. I wasn't even the postmaster. I was a part-time clerk. But I started having all these little post offices around the country calling me to learn how to do stuff. And the head office, when this job opened up and I applied for it, I got all these recommendations from all these other little postmasters. Hey, this guy that you've got trying out for this job, he's the one we call when we need help. Well, what? He's just a clerk. And they said, yeah, but he knows his stuff. So that's how I got hired. That's how I got my first office. Okay, now what? Am I in the wrong? I'm getting carried away here. There we go. Yeah, that was the thing that that was the problem that Carol had. When I was working for the bank, I got sent to very small branches, and the reason why is because I was an ag loan specialist. Well, you don't do that kind of work in the city, so I wanted to stay in the little small country farming towns. So I specialized in agriculture loans, so I didn't have to go to the city. The problem was, to get promoted, you had to be able to move, because the jobs would open up. So I'd start off at one little office and then apply for a bigger office. And so to move up the ladder, you had to be able to physically move. Well, when I started moving to these little towns, Carol was a high school teacher. Well, high school jobs, teaching jobs didn't come up unless somebody either retired or died. And so she had a hard time finding teaching positions. So she went to work for the post office. And when that happened, when we moved, she was able to transfer from one post office to another. And so she was able to find jobs when I got transferred as I was moving up the ladder in the bank. So, but yeah, it was the same. It was the same thing. You know, teachers just didn't quit their jobs. They would start teaching and they would retire, or they would die. You know, and then of course then a job opening would open up. A job opening would happen. I almost went to work as an undertaker. There was a guy, when I was running the ambulance, I would often go in when we had a death, and the local coroner in some small towns was just an insurance agent, or, you know, he would run for coroner, for county coroner. You didn't have to be a medical man and to be the coroner. There was always a medical man available to do the autopsies and things like that, but they didn't necessarily have the position of the coroner. So the doctor that did the autopsy would do an autopsy, and he'd say, okay, this is the cause of death, and then he would give the paperwork to the coroner, and the coroner would sign off on the death. So that's what. So they didn't have to be a doctor. But one of the local morticians was the coroner in one of the towns I was in, and of course, you know, I would have to pick somebody up and bring the body into the coroner's office for autopsies and stuff, and I would stay and watch. And he said, this stuff doesn't seem to bother you. And I said, well, it kind of does, but I don't look at it the same way other people do. I was only able to be a paramedic because I was able to think of it differently. If I'm not out there doing what I do, that person that's out there in that car in a ditch is going to die. And so I can do this. I can go save their life. Did I want to? Hell no. I didn't want to go. If I was privately driving with the family someplace and there's an accident on the freeway, I would be looking for a road I could leave the freeway and go around it, because I didn't want to see what the hell was going on up. I didn't want to see dead bodies laying in the road and stuff like that. But I had to look at it differently. when it was my job to do that. And, you know, I had to not be squeamish. I had to just, if I wasn't there to do what I needed to do, that person was going to die. And so I was able to tolerate it that way. And when this guy said, you don't seem to be squeamish about watching dead bodies and stuff like that. And I said, well, I kind of am. I'm just able to tolerate it because it's part of the job. But he offered me a job, and I said, no, I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. No. Guess what time it is, guys? Yeah, there isn't very many jobs I haven't done. Oh, and I am the honorable. I do have a title with the government, the honorable. Anyway, I never used it. But time for me to go. Another Thursday out of the way. I got to go take my nap. Thanks for watching, everybody. Keep me company. I don't like doing this by myself. Actually, I do. If I do this by myself, I don't have to talk. Although I still do sometimes. I will see you again in the next one, so stay tuned. And have a weekend coming up. Have a good weekend, everybody. And I'll see you guys next time. Ta-ta for now.